Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the AMA with Hustle. We're here. If you don't know, he runs an almost daily show on Crypto Banter, on gaming, and I'd say he's one of the foremost authorities on crypto gaming in the world. So we really are lucky to have him here with us today. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, always stoked to chat the industry with, just anyone who is wants to learn more, is an enthusiast of the industry, et cetera. So I'm just excited to chat and get into the NFT gaming, NFTs in general, metaverse, gaming and NFTs, how those interoperate. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Totally. And we'll take some questions from the Discord that the guys have asked earlier. And we'll also get into some questions from the live chat that'll come through as we go through. We've also got Crypto Jackie on screen with us. He's one of the Crypto School team.
Hey, everyone.
So you might also handle some questions a little later. All right, sweet. Well, before we get too far into it, the structure of today's conversation is we're going to keep it quite relaxed. We're going to just have a conversation with Hustle and pick his brain, find out everything that's going on in NFTs and in gaming. And assuming that the average person listening to this is pretty much a newbie. Maybe you guys have watched some of the Crypto School videos, you've seen the NFT videos there, and you're wanting to get to know a little bit more about what's happening here. So we're going to keep it light, and we're also going to go deep from time to time. So yeah, without further ado, I think the first question that has to be asked, and this is one I enjoy asking many people because of how many different answers we get, is what is an NFT? So Hustle, what's an NFT, bro?
All right. I'll give you two straightforward answers. An NFT in its simplest format is just verification of ownership, in my opinion. It is digitally verifying that you are the owner of something. It could be a car title. It could be a Bored Ape. You click on it and you see it's owned by blank. It is a digital stamp that someone owns their property or owns their items. Or number two, it is a digital asset that confirms its ownership via the blockchain, right? So I think like you could go one of two routes, but I think in its fullest format, it is a verification of ownership method.
Right. I mean, one of the things that makes this so interesting is it's like a new idea, right? It's the first time that we can have something that's really exclusive, because you've got a single place where everyone can go and look at the public blockchain explorer where all the transactions are, and you can actually go and find your NFT and your address there. And because it's on a blockchain, it's immutable, meaning no one can change it, no one can remove it, and everyone can see it. And it's kind of like hard to wrap your head around at first because this has never really happened before. I mean, like, where can you get one of something, like, especially in the digital world? So it's kind of opening up a whole lot of interesting things. Like one of the things that I learned about along the journey of being an enthusiast myself, by no means an expert in this field. I will leave that to Hustle. But it's this idea of the creator economy. And I remember all these bands like years ago, they would get into these deals with these record companies where they would get totally screwed over, like really, really badly. And now with things like NFTs, you could trade your tracks and you could make them into NFTs, and then you could control how much money you make from them, either through the streaming of them or through the selling of them as like one of a million, or however you want to set it up, because you can program this NFT any way you want. And so it's opening up this whole new kind of paradigm shift for creators all over the world, where we can now actually directly create and trade with anyone instantly through the blockchain. I mean, and that's a big deal. Hustle, I don't know what you think about that whole side of things, but I'm just fascinated by this idea of the creator economy and financial control being put directly back into our own hands.
Yeah, it's power to the developers, it's power to the user, it's power to, as we'll talk about in gaming, the players, the studios, these decentralized entities in the Web3 side of things. The biggest business in the world, the biggest industries in the world, all have middlemen, meaning they are centralized. These are centralized business models, whether it's film, whether it's movie distribution, music distribution, sports, whether it's banking, everything in the world has a centralized entity in the middle, aka a middleman. And decentralization takes that out, and NFTs are a brand new avenue for that.
Totally. It's amazing. And tell me, bro, like, how did you actually get into this whole thing? Like, were you a gamer and then it was a natural evolution? Was it a mate?
Yeah. So back in I spoke about this you mentioned you watched the podcast we did on Jordan Belfort on the Crypto Banter channel. And I mentioned there, I actually got into crypto, thankfully, from sports betting. back in the day, you could only deposit Bitcoin. So I was buying Bitcoin. Luckily, it was about 2015, 2016. I actually didn't start accumulating crypto until about 2017. I was like an avid, I wasn't super into it, but I was just like, I knew Bitcoin, Ethereum at that time, like XRP, Cardano was popping up, right? I was just taking little shots here and there. My buddies were telling me this is looking good. So I would get into it. But then I had spent 5 years in the past before this esports competitive, like every single day, morning to night, playing like competitive matches for money, etc. But then when COVID hit, I actually reran it, and like that set me back because Warzone came out. If people remember, Call of Duty Warzone came out during COVID, and that was my game. Call of Duty was my game of choice. So I started playing competitively. Ended up winning 32 tournaments during my Warzone time. And then I realized, though, I was putting in a lot of time and not getting a lot out. And that's where Web3 gaming opened my eyes, because Axion, it was about July of last year, I would say. What would that be now? That's 15 months ago. About 15 months ago, I would say. I was looking through, I had 18 pages of purchases on Call of Duty, that money that I'm never going to get back, right? So battle passes, skins, etc. I was like, there's got to be a solution. I was like, I've heard about crypto game. I'd heard about like Axie Infinity was the one everyone had heard about at that time period. It was kind of on the rise about 15 months ago. And I was like, this just makes a lot of sense to me. I just dove head first. I abandoned it overnight, started making content on Web3 gaming, and here we are.
Wild. What a story. So in a way, you're like a first fruit of the industry getting to the traditional gaming industry, the traditional gamers, because you just came in naturally as an avid gamer, and then you were like, whoa, what is this? And I mean, with that kind of brings me to one of the questions I wanted to ask, which is, where do you think NFT and NFT gaming, since we're on that subject, where do you think that is right now? Do you think we're going to see some massive adoption? Tell us a little bit about the space in general for someone who's not heard about it at all.
Yeah, so NFT gaming, crypto gaming, Web3 gaming, there's going to be a lot of terms that are used. So let's just use NFT gaming for this. So NFT gaming, I think in its purest form, when you're playing a game out there and the application on your phone asks you to buy something, you purchase that item, because everyone knows what gaming is. Gaming, video games, Call of Duty, Apex Legends. I don't have to explain the gaming side of things. But when you're talking about the tech side of things, the easiest way to go is, like, have you ever purchased anything with a dollar value inside of a video game? And a lot of people have, whether it's like a map pack, skins, battle passes, small little $1.99. Whenever your application game asks you buy something for 99 cents, that's a microtransaction. But the biggest thing is, and we talked about this at the beginning with the power of NFTs, you don't own those in those games. You cannot. No, there's no value behind those. There is no proof that you own that item. It is not unique to you whatsoever. There's no rarity to it. And if you wanted to even think about trying to monetize those assets, you have to go through a third-party black market website to try to do so, which is untrustworthy, which is exactly the solutions that NFTs blockchain provide. It's a digital verification. It's a digital asset. Skins as an NFT, in my opinion, right now, gaming and NFTs are the easiest, most obvious use case. Like battle passes as NFTs. You verify that you own that item. If you don't want that item, you can trade that item to another user who does want that item, right? A season 1 asset goes rare whenever it's not season 1 anymore. It's season 6 in these games. So when you explain it like that, like, have you ever spent money in a game? Yes. Would you ever like to potentially look back on that time, those years put in, and be like, I could go back and maybe recoup some investment? And it's not like in a bad way. Other players who want to play the game or want those assets will accumulate them from you. So, I mean, it's a win-win. And the thing is it empowers, we'll talk about this more, but the studios, the players, it really is a business model that when you dig deeper into it, it's beneficial all around.
Right. I mean, isn't the model kind of called play to earn? That's the big phrase that's been flying around for the past few years.
Play to earn's been the big phrase. People are moving towards play and earn, because they felt like that first model with the Axie type of games was more like you have to play. Like, the only reason you're playing is play to earn. Like, that was the only reason a lot of people said they were, like, the theory was that they were playing. So they're kind of pivoting towards play and earn. So hopefully you're playing a fun game and the earning elements just on top of it.
Right, because as I've learned through watching some of your vids, the AAA games like, Call of Duty, things at that level, that's kind of still coming in blockchain because it takes time to develop a game that good.
Yeah,
And I mean,
what people,
that's coming pretty soon. I mean, are there some titles coming out?
Yeah, what people I'll answer that question in a second. What people underestimate is Call of Duty, for example, takes 3 years to make. They alternate 3 studios. That's what people don't know. There might be a new Call of Duty game every single year, but there's 3 different studios, billions of dollars going into that. People don't understand how high level that is to create a game like that.
Wow.
So I think that people really are sleeping on the game development curve. Like it's like now we want Call of Duty on the blockchain, but it's like slow down. We're not there yet. But I think one I'm really looking forward to is Shrapnel, a AAA first-person shooter on Avalanche's blockchain team that's working on Call of Duty, Halo, HBO, Interactive.
Wow.
Obviously, Illuvium's gotten a lot of tons of hype in the space. Dr. Disrespect's game, Dead Drop from Midnight Society. Dr. Disrespect's a massive streamer, influencer in the Twitch, Web 2 gaming side of things. So
yes,
I would say
indeed.
those 3 games are really leaders in my clubhouse that could really drive eyes to the space right now.
And what's out right now already that where someone can go on and, like you say, this play and earn idea, either they can just make money by winning games, or they can start kind of picking up skins and in-game items and assets that they can sell to other players or trade with other players. What would you recommend for me even as an example?
So I'm gonna stick. I'm just you'll notice the theme here. I'm a first-person shooter guy. That's my favorite genre, right? I don't really like the passive type of games that I sit there and do nothing and just watch the screen do stuff. For example, that's just me. So for me,
I'm an old school Quake 3 player, Quake 3 Arena originally, and then on to Call of Duty. So I get it, man.
Awesome. So you get it for sure. When I'm looking across the landscape right now, I think Undead Blocks is one of the more polished, fun games. It's basically Call of Duty Zombies on the blockchain. And every single week,
I love that mod.
Yeah, every single week they're having these $10,000 tournaments. So their whole community is competing for $10,000 cash prizes every single week. It's a sponsorship-based model. It's not, if there's no it's they used to call it in the industry, Ponzi-nomics behind it. Where's the money coming from? It's all the proofs in the pudding with their game and their model. They're on Immutable X, and they have some fantastic partners. So yeah, I'm really bullish on Undead Blocks. And you can play that right now. You just hop in, download it, and you can hop in.
I wonder when the equivalent of Candy Crush comes out. I mean, I know how many hours friends of mine have spent on that game. I think something like that in crypto would have a huge impact on the adoption of the technology.
Clash of Clans is being built. There's a Heroes of Mavia looks to be the Clash of Clans of the blockchain right now. And I could tell that was a very microtransaction heavy game. So we'll see how that plays out when it comes out.
Wow. I mean, all these things are coming together, the speed of the blockchains themselves being able to handle that many transactions and the volume, reliably, and then in game. So if you're competing, with this kind of time-based and things I suppose this are all culminating in this being made possible and kind of changing the whole industry really. And I mean, you see kind of crypto gaming really as the future. Do you think over time that the whole industry will move there? Do you think it's going to become potentially even bigger than kind of Web 2 gaming, if we're going to call it that?
I've talked to some bright minds in the space that think that it's going to become the next internet. Web 3 gaming overtakes everything. I've talked to some people who think it's going to be 10% of the segment, right? Maybe 10 to 20% of the gaming market. But if you look between the lines, which I love to do on our show on Banter, if you don't look on the surface level, find out what's coming into the industry. The amount of money that's coming into the space right now, nobody's funding Web 2 games. People aren't funding normal games that you put on Steam, Epic. It's hard. That is so. Think about being a venture capitalist in normal games and trying to be that's the next Fortnite. No, it's not. Be real with yourself. Those games are not getting knocked off anytime soon, right? The heavy hitters, the Valorants, the Fortnites, they aren't going anywhere.
They're really established,
Yeah, so this space is a brand new opportunity, and the money speaks for itself. Over 50% of the money in venture capital in the gaming industry is coming into Web 3 games, crypto games, NFT, metaverse, etc. And metaverse even further. I mean, if we added metaverse money into it, we're talking so much money coming into the industry from some of the biggest
what kind of
companies
figures
in the world.
Can you throw off the top of your head an idea?
Well, I mean, you have Gala Games coming in with a 2 billion raise. We have Epic Games coming in with a 2 billion raise. We're probably talking, we're talking in mid 100 billion range raised at least in like metaverse Web3 games. I mean, with the amount of $1 billion raises, the $500 million raises, the $14 million raises that just add up over time. These money sums add up so quickly. I would say at least $100 billion in Web3 gaming investments.
We've got some cool games incoming, some cool games, and definitely some cool earning potential as well. So I mean, like, quite an exciting thing to be involved in.
My theory, and this is only going to grow, like I said, because like the biggest banks, the biggest tech companies are still going to come in. They're going to pour more money into the metaverse. I could only imagine behind the scenes what the expenses for Meta have been for the metaverse, right? So I mean, totally. Just the expense for this new future of like NFT gaming metaverse. I think that NFT gaming is going to probably be the new standard in the industry within the next 5 to 10 years. And this is why my theory is that Epic Games, the creator of Fortnite, rolled out Fortnite super successfully, obviously. Probably the best metaverse product in the world at the moment is Fortnite. They have so many different characters from different worlds. You can be whoever you want in that game. It's basically a metaverse in itself. So they've made a $2 billion investment into the metaverse, and they have already, and this is just theory, but they have the best metaverse product in the world already under their umbrella. Everyone's ideology is if you could sell your Fortnite skins on the blockchain. So why would, of course, Fortnite's looking at that. Like, of course, Epic Games is launching games on their platform. Like, they have Grit, Blanco Party, Star Atlas, bunch of games coming onto Epic Games. They're like Steam banned games that are NFT oriented. Epic Games is like, come launch on our platform.
What?
I really think
they banned games.
Steam is not allowing NFT games. As of last October, for a year now, they haven't allowed NFT games. And
so this reminds me of that old pattern, right? First they fight you,
yes,
or at some point they fight you. So it's happening.
It's likening to an internet type of thing. It's likening to those type of events. The iPhone, people thought that the BlackBerry could actually hold it off, which in hindsight was foolish, right? Everyone looks back and that's like, who would have actually thought that now that we know what the iPhone is? But that's the whole thing. Once the world knows what this technology, it goes for the player. It goes for the parent who's giving their kid money to play the game. When the parent's like, yo, if you're not playing the game anymore, go sell those assets. Like, there's so many actual applications to this. And I think that this will instill in the gaming industry in the future.
I mean, we need to give jobs now that technology is taking everyone's jobs. We need to find new jobs. So maybe NFT gaming is one of the real solutions to that. Oh, it's absolutely classic. We're not going to have that old story of the parents shouting at the kid for playing games so much. But like, get back to the game. We need to buy dinner.
Yeah, isn't that a funny isn't that like a funny thought process? Like, my parents, even though I was like competing and like making some money here and there growing up, playing games and tournaments and stuff, they were just like, get off the game, go do something. It's like, all right,
go play outside.
Classic.
Exactly. Classic. So I wanted to also ask you a little bit about not just in-game assets, but also this idea of virtual worlds and land ownership. So there's a guy who actually was one of the illustrators for the Crypto School team, and he celebrated one evening and sent me a message like all giddy. He just bought a piece of land and sold it and made 1.1 million in one transaction. My mind was just like, what? This is insane. So that side of things, like, where can we find virtual worlds or virtual land for sale? What games are doing, what's happening in that front and which games are doing it?
Yeah, so land is an interesting thing because land, in my opinion, when you look back at traditional games, I've never played a game where I had to own a land plot or something like that. So that's something I'm not going to FUD. I'm not going to say that land isn't, I have no idea. But to me, in the generalized gaming world, it seems like land is only there to be an earning mechanism of some sort in these games.
Right.
Or,
okay.
Obviously, like
so
a
just
sandbox,
another feature that'll probably fall away over time. It's maybe, you don't think it's core.
Maybe. I don't think that's the core pillar of gaming assets. Correct. I think in a metaverse where you're building headquarters and land plots, like in an actual metaverse, like a sandbox, sure, it makes sense that you want to build something up on your sandbox land plot. Now, some games that you would want to look at that I think do have strong land inside of their ecosystems. I mentioned Heroes of Mavia. Heroes of Mavia is going to be probably a microtransaction heavy game, like I said, but their land plots do give you a lot of advantages. So if you own a land plot, it does give you a ton of advantages inside the ecosystem. Definitely high utility there. I would say Shrapnel's one to look out for. You can build your own maps, distribute it whenever those land plots do. That land sale's not live yet, so that's like alpha for the future. People can kind of prepare for that one. You can buy a land plot, you build an own map on it. The more that people play on it, you earn. So it's a very cool concept. The more that you do with it, the more in depth your map is, the more that people actually on it. So that's going to be really cool. That's player based, like you were mentioning at the beginning. Illuvium has, really solid land utility behind their land. Really bullish on everything they're doing. Phantom Galaxies as well. I would say there's 4 for you. 3 that are out now: Heroes of Mavia, Phantom Galaxies, and Illuvium, and then a land sale in the future for Shrapnel.
And speaking of crypto gaming in general, like, where can someone go to find all the games? Like, where's a directory of games? Does that exist, or do we just watch your show?
So definitely check out our show over on Crypto Banter in the game. Definitely. Would not want to miss that. But at the same time, if there's one spot you could probably go just to get a really good sense of like the industry and figure out just a big broad scape of games. Think of the IGN of the blockchain. I would recommend Spentop's Gamepedia. You could go through all their games, see if they're live, see if they're in development. You can see trailers, you can see information. It's a really good spot to be able to just go and have a hub of games right in front of you at your disposal and kind of just pick through, see what you want to look at. Yeah.
Epic. All right, sweet. Well, let's get into some of the questions from the community. The Discord has got a couple questions that we'll go through, and then we'll open it up to the live chat. So the first one that we've got for you, Hustle, is what are good games and NFTs to invest in? You've kind of covered some of this, so I guess you can answer it the way you like.
Yeah, never financial advice, obviously. But I would say, okay, if they want, is the question NFTs in games or NFT just NFT gaming? And
what are good games and good NFTs to invest in? It's quite a big question, really.
Okay. So good game to invest in. That's super tough. If you watch my show, I always talk about investing in like platforms and studios and not certain games. Really tough on an individual game standpoint. On an in-game NFT standpoint, right now, I would say, once again, Shrapnel, they're, I believe, 0.07 or 0.08 floor for their operators. Their operators are super cheap. This is going to give you early access potentially into their ecosystem in different ways, whitelists, game access, who knows down the line. So I think that's a really good starting point, really low entry point as well. As far as where the floor price is, I would say Shrapnel operators. Yeah.
Well, since you've been talking about more the bigger picture, like the game houses, I've heard you talk about Gala Games a lot, and that sounds like a really interesting project. Maybe you can give us a couple of those sorts of things.
That's what I was kind of thinking. So first and foremost, I'll throw this out there. I think Polygon's the most bullish NFT gaming project in the world at the moment. Metaverse gaming, it falls under the whole sun. So first and foremost, that's in a league of its own. I would put Polygon like way up here. And then that second tier, I would look at Gala Games, Vulcan Forged. I would look at Ultra, which is like the Steam of crypto gaming. Those would be 3. So, and I'll give you the tickers: Matic, PYR, UOS, and Gala, GALA.
Totally epic. Alrighty. Second question. I've bought 2 NFTs from Bybit, and it looks like the stuff has gone up in value very quickly. Is this a true reflection, or are these sellers manipulating the prices?
Yeah, okay. Great question. That's honestly a fantastic question. Floor prices move. It's a cynical thing. Watch them for a while and you'll see, like, when the volume comes in, it's going to rise for a while. It's about volume. When the volume slows, it's going to dip. Whenever the volume's high, it's going to go up. That's just basic supply and demand. But it does work like that, like clockwork. So if the collection that this person is looking at is still getting day-to-day volume like crazy, like buys every hour, then it looks like it's still hot and it's still, really trending. And if you got in way lower, you are probably okay to keep holding it for a bit. But if the volume slows and you are out here for profit, for example, like if if this person is out here asking when should they sell their NFT, just judge it based off the volume, because the volume can tank very quickly too. If there's no volume, everyone undercuts each other, right? That's what they're talking about with the sellers. The sellers will undercut 0.8, 0.75, 0.7, and then all of a sudden it cascades back down. So the question would be, like, if the question was when to sell their NFT, that's really hard to judge. I would just say watch the volume.
Right. Okay. And next up, someone's asking about your NFT collection.
Okay.
Literally, it just says Hustle's NFT collection.
Yeah, it's come up a few times.
Okay. So yeah, my project, this thing of ours, it's the NFT Gaming Collective. We kind of treat it as like the crypto gaming mafia type of thing. We have 3 pillars: information, access, and our treasury. So the information pillars, it's all top-down information, exclusive content like private videos from me, like kind of a little more grittier market in-depth access, like insights, right? A little more raw as far as like the filter goes. We say so much on YouTube type of thing. Without getting Andrew Tated. So, we try to dumb it down. We leave that to the private. We leave that in the NFT group. So we go over analysis across projects. We have top partnerships with tons of different gaming ecosystems to get them access inside of ecosystems. So just by holding our NFT, they're able to go play a lot of games like My Pet Hooligan, potentially we're partnered up with Shrapnel, Collider Craftworks. We're partnered up with the Splinterlands ecosystem, Phantasma. We have tons of like really quality partners. So we're going to get them access into a ton of games, and we're already doing so. So it lowers the barrier of entry for people to just have one NFT and then be able to still go play multiple games with it due to the partnerships. And then our treasury, we accumulate NFT gaming assets, which our holders can actually use in the future.
Epic. That's amazing. All right. The next up question is, hi, Hustle. As you may remember, we are huge Krabada fans. My Twitter is Moms with Muscles.
Yep.
Recently, we were banned for 1 month from being able to play the battle game or mine because they said we were using bots and we were not. This has been devastating to us as we've lost a lot of trust, not only in Krabada devs, but in NFTs. So the question is, how safe is our money and accounts, really, if they can just shut us out of our own accounts? How do we know if we can really trust a project? We completely trusted Krabada and had our most money invested there. Maybe that was our mistake, trusting. Our ban was just lifted 3 weeks ago, and we haven't even played because we are afraid it will happen again. We only randomly played about an hour a day at different times, so there was no path to anything we did, and we are disappointed and sad.
Yeah, that certainly seems like, I know Krabada deals with more bots than anything. I was super invested in that game too. I've been very deep in that ecosystem in the past. One thing I would say is that was probably the most botted game on the blockchain, as far as like people putting bots on there to just like clockwork be able to mine and battle, like even on the mining game, the passive game, and now the battle game. I do think that their team is super strong. They have a great core backing. Avalanche's that was basically Avalanche's golden child coming out of their gaming ecosystem. Whenever it did, that was their Axie Infinity. Like Avalanche's GameFi ecosystem was off the backs of Krabada. I think that it probably was just a mistake, honestly. I'm not even a participant in the game anymore, and I would still even have the conviction of the people inside that project to think that it was probably a mistake. I think that you would be okay to keep playing, and I hate that happens, and I know exactly who this commenter is. Great listener, and we used to chat Krabada all the time in the past. But yeah, I would just say I would dive back in if you like the game that much and you're still into it. I would 100% dive back in. If they shut you out again, then obviously there's a big problem there. And if they can shut you out, that's a big problem in general. I do agree with that.
Right. Let's take a question from the live chat on the YouTube stream. So this is from Finola M. She says, how can you be sure an NFT is real? I bought one on OpenSea and it turned out to be a fake.
Okay. How do you know an NFT is? Yeah. Okay. So always official links. Go on, know who made the project. Go find their Twitter. Go find the official links. Go to their Discord. Go to the official links tab. Always try to go from source the project correctly, I guess. Don't click on random links that say it's a giveaway or that they're airdropping an NFT to your wallet. And if anything ever asks for your seed phrase, run away. Like this, NFTs are the most scam-ridden side of the industry right now, 100%. So be cautious. Never give your seed phrase to anybody. Never fall for free airdrops of an NFT that's already minted. Please, like, if someone says they're airdropping, minting 10 new of my collection, just as an example, then that's fake. We're not minting anything. You can go to the collection. You can see that it's sold out. Like, just always do a little more due diligence in the surface level, because they'll always make the scams look super appetizing. And never give up your seed phrase.
Totally. That's great advice. And I suppose as well with NFTs, you could take a collection and just duplicate it and remint it, and under a similar name, with like just a couple characters different or something. And then, people might fall for it. And I think that happens quite a lot. That's, as you say, you've got to try and make sure you've got the official collection.
Yes. Like ours has a fake collection even. We've only been live for like a month and a half. So they're out there everywhere. Just be careful.
Wow.
We only have one official collection. I did just link it in the private chat here. I'm sure they can put it in the chat for those who did want that. So
I'm sharing it right now. Thanks.
Awesome.
Another question from Joan Hansen on the live chat. What would be the best game to get into for a beginner on a phone?
A beginner on a phone. If you're not looking to earn a ton of money, I think you would have a fantastic time on Thetan Arena. Still have the highest conviction in the world on that game. I hate that the tokenomics were so bad and the game just completely tanked because of it. But if you want a fun experience, hop into Thetan Arena. And that's, in all seriousness, I think that's the best mobile game that's ever come out in crypto gaming. Wow. And then looking forward to it, I think that Guild of Guardians would be one that you should really look forward to. It's not live yet, unfortunately, but Guild of Guardians will be live soon. And that'll be a really good one to hop into. If earnings aren't your priority, though, Thetan Arena. And I see someone said Galaxy Fight Club too. Yeah, similar game. I would recommend that too.
Awesome. Jackie, can we bring on someone from the live chat?
Yeah, we can. I've shared the link, but it doesn't seem like anyone wants to pop up today.
What about Jack Kelly? Shy. Jack, do you want to ask your question live on the stream?
The link is in the chat.
There we go. Okay, well, while we're waiting for him, I'll ask another question from the Discord. So this is more related to NFTs. So I purchased a domain name at unstoppabledomains.com. Let's say it was mypineapple.crypto. Can I mint it now and add a visual representation, a picture of a pineapple, to add value and sell as an NFT later? Maybe add a song about a pineapple? Or must all the information and representation of the digital image or documents or music have to be put into the initial mint? I hope I've made myself clear. I'm not sure I'm even clear.
I got you. What he's asking is metadata. And the answer to your question is you could sell an NFT tomorrow with like a art or whatever. A month down the line, you have a song ready. You change the metadata. Your smart contract dev would change the metadata, or if you're a smart contract dev. And that's like the rarity. That's how projects reveal. Like whenever they're pre-reveal and post-reveal, there's no rarities, then there's rarities. Like exactly how projects do that. To answer your question, yes, you can do that.
So does that mean as well then that they can add stuff after the fact, right? After the first mint, but the devs, but can they remove stuff after the first mint?
Well, like technically they could change the metadata again, but that would just be activity of a rug pull. So yeah, right. No, if you're in a legitimate project, they would never revert your NFTs. No.
And that kind of actually brings me to a question that I've been thinking about for a while as well, just around rug pulls. I mean, like, wow, crypto is kind of got a lot of pitfalls, and unless you really know what you're doing, it's quite easy to lose a lot of money. Like, what advice would you give for identifying and avoiding rug pulls? And also, like, what is a rug pull for the average person who has not heard this term before?
Yeah, well, a rug pull is a project that basically would mint out, or a token that would start selling, and either the liquidity is pulled from the project, the devs leave the project, they stop working on it, false promises. There's so many different things that could fall under the definition of a rug, whether it's a rug team, whether they just completely rug the funds, whatever the case is. But the adage is that you're standing on the rug and they pull it out from under you. Which to try to avoid that, always do your research. Who is behind the project? What is the project? Is it a game? Is it a platform? Is it a gaming studio? Is it just a piece of art? Like, if it's just a piece of art in 2020, right now, October 12th, 2022, I don't think that that's a good investment. Like, unless you're getting like a Fidenza, which are like so many ETH that the average person is going to be priced out of like those type of art NFTs. So look for utility. What are you going to get from it? Look from the team that's behind it. I'm a big proponent of bet on people, not promises, and try to find the people behind it. Like, let's just say I've been convicted day one. You know, I spoke about this on Banter, like around the time that, about a year ago almost, whenever I first started coming on. My Pet Hooligan, they're about a year in the space, Pixar level team. Now have their game live. They're talking about doing so much stuff. They have an upcoming drop for their Zuckbots, mobile app coming. Just a fantastic team. And that's the level of experience, like Toy Story, Pixar, that I'm willing to back. So I always do my due diligence, and that's the best way to avoid being rug pulled, or to get into something that is going to turn into a potential rug.
Jack, you've joined us.
Hi.
Welcome, brother.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good, and yourself, man?
Yeah, very well, very well. Doing a bit of multitasking, working and listening to you guys, so it's all good.
Epic. Go ahead and answer your question, bro.
Yeah, so I've seen the argument for the last couple of months really about waiting or sitting on the sidelines instead of getting in and accumulating some of the gaming and sort of NFT tokens or projects at the moment. My process has just been to dollar cost average on a monthly basis and just accumulate sort of regardless of the price, but I'm more of a, I suppose, a long-term holder. What would your sort of thoughts be about doing that versus the other idea that I've seen, the way you just sort of sit on the side and wait for the lows that I think everyone's expecting to come?
Yeah, I'm like, when I'm looking at the market at the moment, I think that your strategy is fantastic. First and foremost, you're doing one of the best things that you can do across the board. You're accumulating as much as possible at whatever price and on a weekly, monthly basis, and whatever that may be. That's going to pay off over time as long as those are the high conviction projects. But second answer there, I'm getting ready to start deploying into my top projects very soon. Actually, I think that when you're looking across the board at projects like Polygon, with the partnerships that I talk about Polygon a lot, but first of all, market cap fully diluted always scares me when the market's down. That keeps me away from stuff like Gala in these time periods. Like, it's like a 5x from its market cap to fully diluted. So like in a bull sentiment, it's going to do super well. But for me right now, it's not something I want to actively accumulate with a ton of downside, like on top of it, if that makes sense, with the fully diluted so much bigger than the normal market cap. But stuff I'm really looking to DCA into soon would be Polygon, Vulcan Forge, which is a low market cap. It's only about a $200 million fully diluted. So that doesn't scare me whatsoever. And then I would say probably Solana and Ultra, those four, because I think Solana will still be a big player in the future of the gaming ecosystem. But I am getting ready to actively start deploying in my first highest conviction project, which is Polygon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because that's one of my sort of higher weighted purchases at the moment, and then it just sort of trickles down, like you said, into some of the more speculative.
And sideways action is
projects.
not bad, right? You're going to get those good prices for a very long time. You're going to have a long time to be able to just get as much under your belt as possible for the next run. And Polygon's not going anywhere. Meta, Disney, Starbucks, DraftKings. I mean, I could go on and on with the real world partnerships that they're building, which is why I'm alluding to them specifically, because that's my number one on my accumulation list.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Awesome.
A lot of money there already. So thanks so much. Thanks so much, Jack. Great question.
We have two more people.
Okay, awesome. Well, before we bring them on, Jackie, I want to ask the second question from mypineapple.crypto person.
Okay.
There's the second part to their question that I didn't ask. The second part was, I'm actually working on 2 NFTs at the moment. I'd love to get some ideas on what kind of utility I could bring to them. And I'd also love to get some help on how to add specific features, like how to animate and program the minting process. So the first part is what kind of utility I could bring to them and how to add specific features to them. I mean, go research NFTs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many utilities you could add.
This is crypto school, but I don't want to be the school to teach people how to potentially. This conversation came off of us talking about rug pulls, I think. So I don't know that this is the best thing for me to be answering. Do your own research.
There we go. DYOR, guys. There we go. That's a fair answer. Jackie, let's bring up the next person.
Okay, we have Matthew on.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
What's up, bro?
My question regards research, and like I've followed SpinTop. I love their platform, but do you guys have like a research structure you follow? Like start at SpinTop and then you sort of branch out, because you can be bombarded with information quickly on all the games, everything coming out, and it can get really overwhelming. So for me, I try to have a structure, but I still have that like overwhelmed. Like, dude, there's just so much.
Yeah. Well, let me give you 5 things that I would just look into when it comes to projects, and I think this could really help out. And it doesn't have to be from any individual source, right? Okay. Always span out your information sources. Use their official resources. Judge Twitter sentiment. Find people who are super into the ecosystem that post like threads, like Miles does, like Miles threads on different projects. There's people like that for all these different gaming projects, etc.
Okay.
First, team, try to find out who's behind it, what have they built, etc. Like Gap has a fantastic team, Polygon, Vulcan Forge, Ultra, fantastic teams. Game or product, like what is it? Know exactly what it could fulfill. Is it the Steam of crypto games? Is it a studio, etc.? So team, then what is the product? Niche, so what are they capturing? Is it a game? If it is, what is it? Is a first-person shooter? If their niche is distribution, that's a massive scope. If their niche is game studio, there's a lot of potential there. And then their scope. What is the reach of those? Like how big, if it's a real-time strategy game, how many people is it really going to reach, right? You have to really like be real, like on those type of things. And then on the 5th, so team, like product, niche, scope, and then tokenomics. Always try to find the unlock schedules, try to, judge market caps, fully diluted market caps, figure out the ins and outs of like when tokens are going to be unlocked, because that'll also help you in your strategy of accumulation. Because if you buy right before a huge unlock and you don't know it, like you'll never know why it goes down. And people always kind of scratch their heads afterwards, like, there was a 10% dip the day after I bought. What the heck happened? But whenever you do, the tokenomics is so important. And especially in crypto gaming, because most of these projects are less than a year old. Let's just be real. Like they're all sprouted from last year's meta. That's when the games really started coming out, was after meta. So whenever they announced last October. So I would say team, product, niche, scope, and tokenomics, and never you SpinTop, CoinMarketCap, use their official white paper, light paper, do Twitter sentiment, figure out some guys in their ecosystem on projects you like that give good information. And I think that would be a really good start.
Okay. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hustle, before he hops off, I think, wouldn't it be wise to ask, is there a equivalent to like CoinGecko for games or DappRadar?
So
like
unfortunately, I mean, like not like at the moment, not like specifically for crypto gaming.
Sounds like an opportunity, bro.
It sounds like an opportunity. You're right. Someone here in the crypto school just got taught a business idea.
There's, one site I found pretty interesting. It's called Chain Play, and they give a lot of good information in there. And it's just strictly blockchain gaming, NFT. But I think they are still building it up because not all the information's there.
Yeah,
but,
I guess the other side I could recommend that's strictly play to earn. I think it's playtoearn.net. Yeah, playtoearn.net.
Okay.
That would be the other one that I would probably add to the arsenal of specific gaming websites, but always branch out, of course.
Cool,
Matthew,
man.
I've got to ask before you go, is that the actual spelling of your name? It doesn't actually matter. It's cool either way.
No, everyone always asks that. So it's either for people who knew me like in high school, they know how to find me, or people who don't really know me, then they can't find me because they don't know the spelling or how I spell it online.
That's great. Epic, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me on.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. Later, guys.
Okay, we have 2 more people waiting.
Awesome.
I'll bring up Adam right now. Hi, Adam.
Hello, can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
we can.
So I've got a question that may not be answerable, and I totally accept that. But
Love them.
I am a risk-averse person, and yet I'm in crypto, and so there's a part of me that's understanding that it's risk, but between student loan debt and mortgage and all that, I'm looking for a way to be involved. I'm very interested in UOS and PYR. I'm in the United States. I know that I could use a VPN to get access to exchanges to buy them. I'm not totally comfortable with just hearing some of the things on the Hill regarding chasing after VPNs and such. Has anybody heard anything about PYR and UOS coming to exchanges that are safe in the United States?
Yeah. Have you tried KuCoin?
Yeah, I can't get anything on KuCoin.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I've tried messaging their support team and I get stonewalled.
Interesting. Yeah, they're both available there. Are you on Binance.us?
I am.
I think PYR should be available on Binance. I'm pretty sure. I know Ultra isn't, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would say maybe try to branch out. Do you have a MetaMask wallet, a decentralized wallet?
Ledger is the one that I pretty much use.
There you go. You can get both of them. You can get both of them on the blockchain, and you can get Vulcan Forged also on the Polygon chain as well. So those are accessible on Ask Ledger, etc.
Oh, great!
Just always get the right token address. Use the token addresses from the right chain on CoinMarketCap, of course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.
No, yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people, that is a problem. Exchange, not every exchange has every token, and no, it was an answerable. That's an answerable question. There's nothing wrong with me pointing you to the right direction.
And America seems to still be warming up to crypto. They
Yeah,
kind of
it's
can't really
unfortunate.
decide. A couple of months ago, we've got the president instructing 18 government agencies to figure out how to embrace the technology. That's like a direct quote. And then now we're not so sure with how the crypto exchanges are being treated in the US. So I suppose, Hustle, you'd have a lot of insight around that being based there.
Yeah, my luck with like KuCoin and stuff like that has been okay, but it'll ease. Regulation's going to come, but it's going to ease up the way you can access things in the future, which will be good for a lot of people like who think that crypto's a foreign language.
Right.
Yeah.
Have we got another question there, Jackie, or are we out of questions?
We have Chantal waiting. Hi, Chantal. You're on mute.
Sorry. Oh, hi there. Yes, hi. Hey, Hustle.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I could not pass up this opportunity to say hello. I'm a huge fan. Been watching you for months. And hey, guys, thanks for all of your work for Crypto School. Even though I've been around, the last few months watching shows, I'm still learning. And really appreciate all the work that you're doing. It's been fantastic.
I think you're one of our most loyal Crypto School students, Chantal.
Absolutely.
She can be the mascot, man.
I just finished my lessons, and now I'm actually in the Crypto Banter Hub too, because the trading competitions are coming up. So I've got to get my head wrapped back around that. So, but anyways, real quick answer for Adam. He can buy PYR on crypto.com because I'm in Toronto, right? I'm in Canada. And we're having a terrible time here with regulation and exchanges. They just shut off Bybit here in Ontario. Binance is not available in Ontario. And also KuCoin has been banned, but we can still log on. They're just not answering the Ontario Securities Commission. So what's happened is it's actually because of Crypto School, I was afraid of the VPN. So again, Adam, it's okay. Do the NordVPN, get the link, install it, use the Banter 2-year reduced price, and absolutely 100% use the VPN, because I got an email from Bybit saying that they were going to close up my my one account. And so I opened up a second account. That one's not KYC'd, but I'm using the VPN on that, and I'm perfectly fine. So, of course, I put a lot of notes on that in the Crypto Banter Hub the other day. So I did that months ago. And the VPN actually feels safer behind that VPN now. So anyways, that's way off topic. So Hustle, I just wondering, the NFTs to me are still a mystery. Like, I don't know how to put an NFT in my wallets. I don't really understand them. I don't really understand how to buy them. So I don't know, maybe down the road, if you could do some kind of like something like sniper school for gaming and NFTs, especially because I think, I truly believe in everything that you're saying. Over the next 5 to 10 years, NFTs and gaming and metaverse are really going to lead the way for the growth of the space. And I'm totally committed, but I'm not a gamer. That's why sometimes I come in and out of your shows, because I can't, I'm a terrible,
Makes sense.
Can't even use a controller. So my daughter, I bought her a Wii, right? I could barely play FIFA soccer.
No, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the words and the support. But yes, I think that this is definitely sparking an idea. We need to probably put something together like NFTs, NFT school, crypto gaming school,
like
kind of how to get up started, how to get your MetaMask wallet set up, how to like link it up with OpenSea, get your first NFT, how to like link it to a game and hop into the game with it. Yeah, this definitely
that would be so much
light
fun.
bulb, yeah.
Yeah,
I've got good news. I've got good news for you guys. Actually, that's been in the works for about a year, Hustle. You just didn't know about it.
Well, you've mentioned it a couple times. We
totally wanted to have Hustle doing a crypto school of some kind with gaming, absolutely, and also with NFTs. And I think it's something that would be amazing and super interesting to do a real deep dive into that and where it's going. I would love to go to that school.
I totally agree, because it's a mystery to me. And, again, it's another learning curve, right? So, and then, of course, we can pass the knowledge on to other people, too, because that's really what it's about is, during this bear market, holding on. I've had all kinds of challenges the last few months, but, really, this community is keeping me in the space,
awesome.
Right? So, anyways,
we've got to see the big picture, like the democratization of money. Owning our money for the first time. I mean, this really wouldn't be a crypto school session if we didn't talk about Bitcoin a little bit. Just simply because, like, I've been looking into this again recently, and every time I go back to Bitcoin, it just blows my mind even more. I wouldn't say I'm a maxi. I'd say I love all crypto, but I'd say something I love about Bitcoin, just to open this up for a moment, is if you care about freedom of speech and democracy and private property, it's like a living constitution. It's like it's actually like the embodiment of a constitution, because once you own it, no one can take it from you. And that is unheard of. That's never happened before. And in this kind of a world we're headed into, with the amount of censorship that we're seeing, this is more important than ever. And that's why during the bear market, as you say, Chantal, we've got to stick together. We've got to kind of keep the faith, as it were, and actually spread this good news, but without sounding too religious or too fanboy about it. But really, like, how do you even these days talk about something so amazing and so revolutionary and so important for our civilization without sounding a little bit mad? Part of the story.
People will say that, but like for me, the reason why I got involved a year ago, unfortunately my timing was off, but I've been investing in mutual funds for years. Canadian are registered retirement savings plans or mutual funds, and these basic financial instruments that are given to us from the bank, right? And I've never really got into stocks and trading because I didn't understand how to trade. So, but the thing is that all of a sudden, there's no growth, right? Like 5 years ago, I put X amount of dollars into this registered savings fund, and it made $5,000, but then it owed $2,500 in taxes if I withdrew it. So it made $2,500 in 5 years.
Wild.
So what a waste of money. Imagine if I had put that 10,000 into Bitcoin.
It's only
Right?
a matter of time. We just got to educate people and keep reminding them that the decentralized way is the only way. Well, rather, it's a very important way. We definitely can't rely and allow these CBDCs to become the thing. Bitcoin
Right.
needs to stay, and others like it that put the power back in the hands of the people and return democracy back to, well, I say return. I don't know if we've ever really had it, but I mean, very excited about what's happening in the world with this whole industry and with also what's going to be happening in governance as we see, consensus being reached by using your wallet and by using your unique address. And so it can also be publicly verified on the blockchain. So
True
exciting.
enough. Yeah. And you have
So
to have
thanks.
long-term outlook as well. I think that's really, really important. At first I was going to be what Rand called a tourist. I just want to make some money and get out, within a couple months. And then, I said my timing was off. I didn't understand the market. And what you guys are teaching in 3 weeks took me months and months to learn on my own. It's such valuable information, what you are teaching through this crypto school. I can't thank you enough. Anyways,
Thanks,
great.
Hustle.
Bye, Hustle.
Thanks.
Have a good rest of your day.
Keep doing
Thank
your good
you.
work. All you guys, bye. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
What a great session, guys, and thanks so much, Hustle. This was fascinating. I'd love to do it again sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. That was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I have a quick question for you guys. Hustle, would you take one more question to end off the call?
Of course.
So Waz, one of our moderators, he was asking, so when transitioning from EA on a professional level to Web3 gaming, what were some of the mistakes you made?
Some of the mistakes I made from coming over to this Web3 gaming. At first, at first, tokenomics inside the game. Not everything's the frontward facing price of the first token of an eco. I got fooled by that hard at first, right? I think a lot of people did. Tokenomics didn't make a lot of sense at first with the governance and the inflationary token and like the earnings token. What do you do? That was definitely a little funky to me at first in that first fall, like getting into a couple of games. But tokenomics are a fickle thing, especially in games. So I would say I had to adjust. Like I didn't have a tokenomics issue in my traditional crypto journey. And then while I was just doing gaming, but when they kind of collided, tokenomics became like the most important thing because all these gaming projects are pretty new and they have, kind of new metrics, these burn mechanisms, like all these things. Just at first I was like in over my head on that. But once I got the tokenomics down on all these games and kind of figured out the sustainable model, it was all up from there.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's very good insight.
Great. Well, Hustle, Jackie, it's been a pleasure. Let's do this again soon.
Likewise,
and
man.
to the rest of the community, we'll see you guys in Discord and on the shows.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.